What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Married at First Sight, Season 18, Episode 10, Anniversary Dinner Showdown. And what a showdown it was. Let's get into it right away because I have a lot to talk about and I don't have a lot of time. Imam and Ikechi. So this is the episode where everybody is celebrating their 1 month anniversary. So Imam and Ikechi, they celebrate their 1 month anniversary by having a picnic. Everything was really cute. Imam had set it all out, the food, the little decorations. I think she had flowers there. They were going to have a charcuterie board, I think, and also they were going to do some painting. So Imam looked absolutely ethereal in her pink outfit. She looked so beautiful, so regal, so pretty. Y'all, my breath was taken away by how gorgeous Imam looked at that picnic. She had on this pink outfit. That pink color complemented her skin so well. Everything was perfection. Her hair, her makeup, everything was just gorgeous. So she's sitting there waiting for Ikechi to show up. He arrives, and you can tell that he's already really aggravated, irritated. That's just the constant state that this man constantly stays in a constant state of irritation and aggravation. And it's like, look, no one is holding a gun to your head and making you stay through this process. If you want to leave, you can leave at any time. Okay. You're not being held prisoner here if you're this unhappy. So they sit down, and she can even notice that he's kind of off. She can tell that there's definitely tension there. It was so obvious. And so they sit there, they eat, and then after that, they do some painting. And Ikechi said that he enjoyed these types of activities. It helps him to get to know each other better. It gets him away, in his mind, it gets him away from Imam interrogating him and questioning him all the time. And he just talks about how he's really enjoying the scenery, he's enjoying everything. Even though he's saying these words of how much he's enjoying everything, his body language, his facial expression is showing someone who is not comfortable, someone who is extremely tense. So the words are not matching the body language. It's not matching how he looks. So he talks about how he just really likes to be outside, to be among nature. And Imam says, so you're hoping to celebrate each day at a time. And Ikechi says, yeah. And then Imam says, is that something that you're actively doing, enjoying each day at a time? And there was this really long, awkward pause when she asked that question because you can tell that his level of passivity is rising, because how dare she ask him a question? Because Ikechi does not want to be questioned by Imam. He doesn't want to be questioned by the experts. He doesn't want to be questioned by anybody because he's here with an agenda. And his agenda, first and foremost, obviously, is to gain popularity, is to gain clout, make a little money on the side while he's here. But he also wants to present a certain image of himself, which is totally fake. And he feels like the more people ask him questions and the deeper they dig about him, the more this facade that he's putting up is going to be torn down. And he is really trying to keep up a certain appearance. I'm not exactly sure what it is. I don't know if he wants to appear like someone who's really interested in this process, or he wants to appear like this very woke, intelligent black man who's going to steal the show. I don't know exactly what type of facade he's trying to put up, but it's definitely a facade. And this is the reason why I think he gets really irritated whenever Imam asks questions and then will ask follow-up questions, because it's like she's digging deeper. She's trying to get to know him for exactly who he is, which is something that he is trying to avoid at all costs because he's here just to keep up appearances. So there was this really long, awkward pause, and then Ikechi says, oh, I have something in my tooth. Like that was what was preventing him from answering. So he plays these stupid dumb games, and he thinks that nobody can see right through them. So he tells us that Imam is never happy with any of his answers. And I don't think it's that she's not happy about his answers. It's that she's calling out the BS. She knows that whenever he gives his answers to her questions, the answers are fake. The answers are very surface. The answers are Like, like he's really trying to pull the wool over her eyes. Like he thinks like he's got one up on her. You know what I'm saying? Like he's like, I'm going to answer this question in the most limited way that I can answer. I'm going to answer it, but it's going to be very limited. It's not going to give too much information, and it's not going to really give her the answers that she's seeking. And she's just going to have to put up with it. So that's how he answers his questions. And Dr. Pia experienced this as well with him. Like when she was asking him questions and trying to get deeper with him, and he was giving her very like syllabic answers, very surface type answers, because he doesn't want people to break through that barrier that he has put up, because he's really just here to play a character. So he didn't look like he was enjoying himself at all, even though he claimed that he was, oh, the scenery and being out in nature, blah, blah, blah. He didn't look like he was enjoying himself at all. And she keeps digging. She keeps asking questions because she's just trying to get to the truth of it all. Moving on from there, they're back at the apartment, and the experts had sent them the 1 month anniversary basket, which had the photo album and I guess the video of their weddings and stuff. So she's sitting on the couch, to look through this basket, and Ikechi is sitting at the bar. So he's sitting on a stool at the bar in the kitchen, or by the kitchen. And she was expecting him to come and sit down next to her so they can look through this wedding basket, this 1 month anniversary basket together. But no, he stayed put by the bar and refused to come and sit down next to her. So then she opens up the album and she has to hold it up in this awkward angle to allow him to also see the picture. But he had no interest in seeing these pictures because he's not really here for a wife. He's not here for a ma'am. He's not here for the purpose of this show. He's just here for popularity's sake, hoping to gain some followers and to, gain some views on a social media platform. So he's just kind of sitting there looking at the album, he's just kind of like, oh, okay. Yeah. And so, after that, they look at their vows because the vows were written out and framed. And so she gives him the frame to look at, and he's reading through the vows. And he said that, at the time when he said those vows, he really meant them. So then Imam asks, you meant them about me? And now he's getting irritated because how dare she ask him a question? And so Ikechi says, I meant what I said when I recited those vows. When I said those vows, I meant them at that time. That's what I said. So he's not really adding any more. He's not really answering her question because she wanted to know those words that you said. This is what I took from it. Like she really wanted to know those words that you said at the altar, whatever he said, those beautiful, loving, caring words, were they really, do you still remember those words? And are you trying to apply what you said to me and to what's going on right now? I think that's what she was trying to get at. And of course he knew that. And of course he wasn't going to answer the question truthfully because in all honesty, he didn't mean those words. He didn't remember those words because he's not here to try to make any kind of connection with this woman. So he gets irritated and he gets really frustrated now because he thinks that, she doesn't like his answer because he didn't, answer the question. He just repeated himself. And he said, if you keep hitting me upside the head with your answer stick, you're going to see less and less of me. And then he says something about you can take these vows and you can keep them. So now he's threatening to leave her because of the fact that, she's, being this horrible, cruel monster by asking her husband questions to try to get to know him better, to try to understand, exactly, what he's all about, try to understand exactly what he's saying. He gets really irritated and tells her, if you keep on hitting me upside the head with the question stick, you're going to be seeing less and less of me, and you can take these vows and keep them. So then he says to her that, when I read your vows, I don't see anywhere here where you vowed to be an a-hole. And I was just like, you see, and ma'am, you're giving this man way too much grace, and you're giving him way too much of your time and energy. At that moment right there, there's probably about maybe 4 or 5 different moments where I feel like Imam should have packed her bags and left. This right here, if him saying that to her would not make her walk into her bedroom, pack up her suitcase, and leave this man for good, I don't know what it will take for Imam to drop this zero. I don't know what it would take for a woman like Imam to leave this jokester alone. Because he says to her, when I'm reading your vows, I don't see anywhere where you vowed not to be an a-hole. He claims that he upheld his vows by caring for her, respecting her, etc. And I'm like, where are those scenes at? They must have edited all of those scenes out where Ikechi is caring for Imam, loving on Imam, respecting Imam. I don't know where those scenes, what happened to those scenes? I guess ended up on the cutting room floor because I don't remember him acting like that. So he refuses to be questioned in any way because he wants to control how he appears, and he cannot hide the fact that he doesn't have any feelings for her. He can't hide that. And I feel like, he's beginning to see, because the way Imam looks at him and the way that she questions him, you can tell that she's extremely suspicious of his motives. And he can see that she can see what he's all about. And I think that's really what pisses him off. And I don't know what's going on in Akechi's life where he felt like it was a great idea to come on a nationwide television show and to make himself look like a complete, utter piece of crap. I don't know why he thought it was a good idea to come on this show and try to finesse everybody by being a complete jerk to the woman that they matched him with. Because even if you don't feel an attraction to her, and even if you don't like her, and you have no romantic feelings for her whatsoever, there should never be an excuse for you to treat her the way that you've been treating her, to dog her out, to disrespect her, to belittle her, to talk to her very condescendingly. There's just no reason to treat another human being like that, because you can express the fact that, you know what, I'm not feeling you. I don't think this is really working out for us, and still be respectful. And not only would it, be better for her, but Ikechi, it would also be better for you. Because how you talk to her, it's like borderline abusive, like verbally abusive, how you speak to her. And you think that you think it's a whole flex to talk to her so ugly because you think that you're going to make her look like the bad guy. But in all actuality, ever since you stepped on this show, Ikechi, you have looked like the villain. You have looked like the bad guy. And if that was your goal, then you've accomplished it. If your goal was to come off like the a-hole, then you've accomplished that with flying covers. Bravo to you. Congratulations to you if that was your goal. Because that's exactly, you look disgusting. You look nasty. You look ugly. You look horrible. There isn't one single redeeming quality about you at all, Ikechi. And you feel like that you are embarrassing her and making her look bad, but you're just making yourself, you're not only are you like disrespectful to her and to yourself, you're just respectful to your family and your friends, because you really make us question, how the hell did your parents raise you for you to come off looking like this, for you to be a grown man? And I understand it's a TV show, and I understand that he's here to play a character, and I don't know if he's in cahoots with the producers, so he was going to be the villain for this season. I don't really know, but I don't know why someone wants to come on a show and be so ugly to someone else. And if you want to do it for ratings, if you want to do it for entertainment purposes, I guess that's fine. But don't you dare come back on the reunion or give an interview to any article or podcast or blog or whatever, talking about, well, it was just the way that's how they edited me. It was just how they edited me. They made me look like that, because you're making a conscious decision to play the a-hole for Married at First Sight season 18. You're making a conscious decision to look like that. And I don't know if this is what you think is going to gain you popularity, or you're going to feel like, oh, they're going to remember me because I was the villain of season 18. So he ends up leaving, and he leaves, he walks out, and then she goes into the bathroom and she cries. And I feel like if he's here to play a character and it's all just for a show, I feel like Imam's feelings are real. I feel like she really is being hurt by how this guy is treating her. And I don't know, I don't know why that's like a good thing to Ikechi, for him to be like, yeah, I'm here to play a villain, but you're making this woman cry, and you're hurting her feelings. Like, I don't know, like, how you get off on that. There's not enough money in the world for me to want to make someone feel crappy about themselves, or to feel crappy about the situation that I placed them in. So the next time that we see Ma'am, she's laying in bed. It's at night. She has on her bonnet, getting ready for bed, and she's doing a video diary. And she's telling us that she hasn't seen hide or tell of Ikechi in a couple of days. And she shows us that she's been sending him text message after text message after text message, wondering, like, when is he coming home? Like, what's going on? And he's just not responding at all. So I want to hurry up and get to the dinner scene, because that's the continuation of Imam and Ikechi's story. So all the couples are going to go out for dinner to celebrate their 1 month anniversary. And everybody's there except for David and Ikechi. Initially, David couldn't make it because he had to work, and Ikechi, no one knows what the hell's going on with him. So they all get into the Sprinter van, and I feel like him not wanting to participate in this scene was just him trying to make her feel bad, because he knew that everybody was going to be there with their, with their spouses. And I feel like, in my personal opinion, that he didn't show up because he just wanted to look like he just wanted her to feel bad, and to be, to feel uncomfortable or embarrassed about her not having her husband there by her side. That's why I think he didn't show up. So Imam is telling the group that she hasn't seen him in a couple of days. He's not responding to any of her text messages. And she tells them that he had called her an a-hole on the day of their 1 month anniversary. And Juan is trying to play like, he's trying to play Sweden. He's like, he doesn't want to take either side. He wants to be very neutral. He doesn't want to jump to conclusions and just assume that everything is Ikechi's fault. He feels like they probably both have a lot to blame to how their marriage is going so far. And I'm just like, Juan, look, I know you don't know the full story, because it seems like this season the couples are not doing a lot of interaction with other couples. And so he probably doesn't know the full story. No one has given him the lowdown of exactly what's been going on. But I mean, can't you see how hurt Imam is? Like, whatever she has done, does it warrant him making her feel like this? Because this woman is really hurt. But anyways, so Imam brings up, Juan also says that Ikechi probably has a lot of deep unresolved issues. I'm like, yeah, that's really, really obvious. I don't know if he's suffering from some type of childhood trauma or suffering from some type of broken heart. I don't know what's going on. But there's something going on with Ikechi that is very personal, that is very deep, that we will never get to the bottom of. Only a very a professional licensed psychotherapist will have to spend a number of months with Ikechi to figure out exactly why he wants to come across as ugly as he is. Iman brings up to the group that Ikechi called her aggressive. So she talks about how he called me aggressive, and she said that he called her aggressive because, this is where I was kind of confused, because I thought that he called her aggressive because she was coming on to him. But she says specifically it was because, and she had mentioned this in front of Dr. Pia, that on their way to their honeymoon, he had placed her hand on his crotch. And it seemed like in the Sprinter van, she was telling the group that when he did that, and she complied because, whatever, she complied and allowed him to do that. He turned it around and said that she was aggressive based on that one act. And I thought he had referred to her as being aggressive because she was just showing an attraction towards him and, being very flirtatious with him and giving him hints. I thought that's why he was calling her aggressive. But it seemed like she was trying to say that he called me aggressive after he placed my hand on his crotch. Like, he's the one that gave me the green light, and then he turns around and calls me aggressive. Okay, fine. So then she also talks about how this is the second time applying for the show, I guess implying that he's not here for genuine reasons. He's just here for clout. They get to the restaurant. Everybody sits down around the table. Camille and David announce that they have consummated their marriage. Everybody's really happy for them. And they also talk about how, we've put in a lot of work in this, okay? We've put in a lot of work. We've come very far. We've progressed a lot. But yeah, we're doing great. And I've always said that Camille and Thomas, that's the couple to emulate. If you're going to emulate If any of these couples are going to look up to any other couple, that is a couple to emulate. They may not be perfect. They do have their issues. They do have their problems, but they have communication and they have like the same goal to try to make this work and to put in the work. Not because before everybody was idolizing Ikechi and Imam. And I was like, you cannot idolize Ikechi and Imam because Ikechi is a fool. He's a fake fool. You can't idolize that man. He has no genuine feelings or concerns towards that woman. Do not idolize Imam and Ikechi. But your girl Madison and everybody else were like, oh my God, Imam and Ikechi, Imam and Ikechi. Ain't nothing going on with Imam and Ikechi. Nothing but heartache and grief. So after that, Carla and Juan began to talk about what's going on with them, but they were interrupted in the middle of their testimony. They were interrupted by Ikechi. Here comes Ikechi. He saunters into the restaurant and he sits down, and they're like, "Where have you been?" And he goes, "Chilling." This is the reason why. This is the reason why, you know, I'm so angry at this man because you give these one word superficial answers. Then you get upset when people want to follow up. You say that you're late because you're just chilling. But then if somebody should dare to ask, what do you mean chilling? We've been waiting on you for 2 hours. What are you talking about? Oh, why are you questioning me? Why you beat me up with the questioning stick? So he comes in. He says he's just been chilling. Allen says that is no excuse for you to miss half the dinner. You know, Allen is here. He's going to try to regulate. He's going to try to step up and confront this man. And Keji just looks at him and says, "Yeah, that is a reason why I would have y'all waiting for 2 hours because I'm just chilling." And so then the whole entire mood of the table completely changes. Okay. The air just got sucked out of the room. But it didn't stay that way for long because lo and behold, Mr. David shows up. So David was at work. That's why he couldn't make it at the beginning because he was at work, but he snuck away from his job to try to make an appearance after dinner. And I was happy that he did show up. And he shows up. Everybody was really happy to see him. So all the attention geared towards David. And I'm wondering if Ikechi felt kind of bad because, you know, for that short amount of time in the beginning when he first arrived, all eyes were on him. Now everybody forgot about him and now they're focused on David. So David shows up. He goes around the table. He greets everybody, which Ikechi didn't do. And he sits down. And I'm so happy that Michelle acknowledged that, you know, he made the effort to come for the anniversary dinner to sit next to her, and she acknowledges that that did make her feel good, that she was happy that he did do that. Every time Michelle gives us a little bit of hope when she says something really nice about David, and she gives us that little tiny bit of hope, in the next like 5 minutes she'll do something just to completely crush all of that. So they sit down, everybody's there, and where do we go from here? Camille asks Ikechi, okay, like what's really going on? Okay, we're not going to act like we're not noticing the tension. We're not noticing the issues here. What is really going on with you? And Ikechi's like, no, 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 I'm good. And Camille is like, no, for real. Like, what is really going on? Like, she's really trying to get this guy to use his words and to communicate. And he talks about how this is not the setting for this. And, you know, let's just enjoy. I'm just here to celebrate y'all. But they keep on pressuring him and they keep on pushing him to talk about the issue. And he goes, well, you know, there's no peace in my home. My wife makes me feel like shh. And everybody was like wanting to know like what's happening, what's going on. And Juan and David, especially David, he tried to get the group to calm down, to be quiet and be like, hey, let's just focus on the positivity. Let's just focus on this dinner and celebrating one another. You know, this is their business. This is their mess. Let's not get too deep into that because this is really not the setting for that. But Ikechi, uh, but I felt like, okay, true enough. Yeah, I understand that where this is a celebratory moment, but like this woman, Imam, has not seen her husband in 2 or 3 days or however long it's been. She shows up. She does what she's supposed to do by showing up. He saunters in, however much late he was, sits down, and you want to commiserate with everybody like nothing happened. While this woman is fuming and boiling next to you. Like, how in the world? I mean, why would anybody, how can anybody expect Imam to just go along with it, just to act like nothing is happening when she is being emotionally abused by this man. She hasn't seen this man in 2 days, and he just shows up out of nowhere, sits down, plops down next to her, and he's just like, let's just have dinner and celebrate. Yeah, I'm here to celebrate y'all. Him saying that, I'm here to celebrate y'all. Once again, it is throwing a dig at Imam, because he's like, I'm not here to celebrate you, us, or our union. I'm here to celebrate all these other strangers. So I don't know why they would expect her just to put a smile on her face and, eat her steak and potatoes like nothing is going on, like this, like she's not being torn apart by this man. So I felt like she had every right to express herself, to say what she wanted to say and however she wanted to say it, in whatever setting she wanted to say it. So she goes off on him. She's like, I've been texting you for 2 days straight. You're not responding. He's like, you haven't been texting me for no 2 days. And she's like, yes, I have. So when the girls saw that she was, escalating, they told her to calm down, and they go into the bath. They take her to the bathroom for her, to get herself together. So in the bathroom, she tells the women that I'm here. I came on this show for a husband, for a marriage. I didn't come up here to play games. I didn't come up here to be treated like garbage, by this two-bit clown. I came here for the real reasons, for genuine reasons. So the girls are trying to calm her down. And I really liked how Camille was really, really standing up for a man, because Camille was ready to post up on Ikechi. If it had to go there, Camille was ready. And so I like how Camille showed her support to Ikechi. And the other women did as well. But, anyways, moving on. So when they return back to the table, Ikechi gets up and leaves, because he's not a man. He's so far from being a real man. It's hilarious, because he's not a man. Imam came back to the table, and the women were ready to grill him. He gets up and he leaves because he can't take it. He's not strong enough to take the heat. He's not strong enough to take their questions. He's not strong enough to take the scrutiny. He feels like he can dish it, but he is too weak and too spineless to take it. So he's in the hallway somewhere, and one of the producers catch up with him, and they ask him, why are you leaving? And he says, you think I'm going to sit next to that? He refers to Imam as that. This woman who is more accomplished than he will ever be, who's got more intelligence, more grace, more everything that you can think of that he could ever have in his whole entire life. He could live 5 lifetimes, and he can never be on the level of an Imam. And I think that's bothers him more than anything else. Whatever insecurities he's suffering, I think he's suffering it because of a woman. Because a woman did something to him at some point back in the day, and he's felt small ever since. And then when you put him next to a woman, or you put him with a woman like Imam, who is poised, intelligent, successful, accomplished, you put him next to a woman like that, he just shrivels up and dies. He can't take it. He's so jealous of her. He's so envious of her. He knows he can never live up to be the kind of man that a woman like that deserves. He knows he's always going to fall short. The fact that she's giving him as much patience as she has proves that it probably just feels sorry for him and doesn't want him to feel any smaller than what he already is. So she tries to pump him up by being nice to him, by being respectful to him, by not treating him the way he deserves to be treated. And so he knows that, and it makes him feel even smaller. So Juan, like I said, he's busy trying to play Sweden back at the table. And, he's like, yeah, it seems like, y'all are both trying to, get at each other, pointing the finger at each other. And Imam was like, hold up, Juan, excuse me, what the hell have I done to him? What have I done to him? And because Juan doesn't know the full story, he kind of gets caught up in the crosshairs of all of this. And he's like, well, I don't know. Yeah, you don't know, Juan. So please be quiet. Don't assume that they're both contributing to this fiasco. It could really be possible that Ikechi is the a-hole that he is the SOB that he actually is. That could be possible, Juan. So outside, Ikechi is telling the producer that everything changed when he refused to have sex with Imam. I don't not a lot. Some men will do this. They think that whenever a woman is unhappy or is upset, it's because she's not getting enough vitamin D. Okay. She's not getting enough. She needs more of it. She needs it and not getting it. And it's got nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with just basic respect for another human being. So he thinks that, Imam turned into this wild, banshee, crazy, rude woman because he's not giving her any vitamin D. Like this would all be, she'd be perfectly fine. She'd be so cool, calm, and collected if I would just give it up to her. We wouldn't be going through this. And it's got nothing to do with that but your brain is too small to process any of this adult things that are actually happening right now. He takes no accountability, obviously. He doesn't think that he has anything to do with her feeling the way she feels and with her acting the way she acts. He thinks that, he's got nothing to do with that. It's not his fault. All she needs is some vitamin D. So he says that, she's like this because I'm not giving her any sex. And he says at the wedding, she didn't even give me the chance to ask her if I could kiss her at the altar. Instead, she just shoves her tongue down my throat. But you didn't push her away. You didn't step back. You didn't talk to her about it afterwards and say, hey, look, the way you kiss me at the altar, I don't get down like that because I don't know you. So let's just not let that. Nothing like you gave no indication that bothered you. So he says he's okay with walking away. He's okay with signing them divorce papers right now, here and now. So back at the apartment, we see him leaving from the security camera inside the apartment. We see him leaving with his suitcases. He's walking out. He's leaving. He's out of there. And he tells us in his video diary that he cannot stay with someone who belittles him and tries to make him feel small. No, you're doing that to yourself. You're projecting your own insecurities on this woman who, with my own eyeballs, I have seen her be nothing but gracious and respectful and caring towards him. She said, I'm allowing this man to lead. I'm going to let this man lead. And the only thing that you're doing is you're leading your reputation right down into the toilet, Ikechi. That's the only thing that you're leading. You're leading yourself into just into hell. I don't know how else to put it. You're making yourself look bad. Anyways, he says that he can't be with someone who belittles him and tries to make him feel small. He belittles himself and he's making his own self feel small because he knows that he can never measure up to truly, truly satisfy a woman like Imam, maybe, or any other one for that matter. So Imam comes home from the dinner and sees that he has moved out. He is no longer there. And then she cries herself to sleep. And I'm like, Imam, girl, this better be the last damn time that I see you waste another tear on this fool. This better be the last time you cry about anything. And I know she's not probably crying over him. It could be just crying out of frustration, crying out of anger, because I get to that point where you're crying, but you're not upset or sad. You're just so mad. Your body has nothing else to do but to produce tears because you just reached that level of anger. So maybe she's crying for that reason, but you cannot let this man control your emotions like that because he's absolutely nothing. At the end of the day, he is still a stranger to you. Let's move on to Madison and Allen. So they're celebrating their 1-month anniversary. They're in their apartment. They're going through their wedding album. I think out of all of the couples, I think Madison and Allen probably have the best pictures. So they're going through their wedding album. Allen asks her, does she feel any spark while she's going through the wedding album, reminiscing about their wedding day? Is she feeling any type of excitement, any kind of spark? And she's like, basically, no, she's not. It's not happening. And so he asked her, so what are the biggest roadblocks in our relationship? And she's like, Alan, I don't want to talk about that right now. Let's just try to keep it positive. Let's just celebrate our 1-month anniversary. Let's not go there. So she didn't really want to dwell on the negativity. Alan tells us that he cannot read Madison at all because she doesn't want to be read. She doesn't want you to figure her out. Madison also has a wall up. Okay, she's not really playing a character. She's just trying to get along to get to the end of this, and then she can go about her business. But she definitely has a wall up. She has a wall up. Whereas Ikechi is being fake and fraudulent and mean for no reason. Madison is she's gonna play along, keep it copacetic, try to keep it as peaceful as possible, just to make it to the end, and then just walk away from this man. But she definitely has a wall up, and that's why he can't read her. They're playing tennis, and they have a bet going on, and if she wins, then he has to run around and cluck like a chicken or something. And then if he wins, he says, you're going to have to give me a kiss. So he ends up winning. And when it came time for her to pay her debt and to kiss him, she found a loophole and she says, oh, but she didn't tell me how and where I can kiss you. So I choose to kiss you on your cheek instead of your lips. Once again, Allen, my boo thing, my little, my little love muffin. How many times does this woman have to show you that she's just not interested in you? Why do you keep laying yourself down to be walked over? To be walked over by this woman? Allen, why? 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 Because as soon as she said, oh, but she didn't tell me how and where, I would have been like, you know what? I'm good. I'm good. If you're going to have to pull out contracts and point out all the loopholes and where I didn't cross the T's and I didn't dot the I in this contract, I'm good. Get away from me. That's what I would have done. So, where are we at here? Okay. So, I feel like he's just so desperate to get the littlest bit of affection from her. And I think the reason why is because he's so attracted to her. I think that, going into this process, Alan probably thought he was going to get like an ogre of a woman, a Shrek looking type of woman or something. I think he was so worried about attraction and if she was going to be pretty enough. And when he saw her, he was so thankful that, she passed as far as looks go. A little side note. To me, Madison looked her best on the day of the wedding. She looked her best on the day of the wedding because I didn't know who she was. I didn't know what kind of time she was on. I didn't know how she was going to end up being. So I thought she was beautiful on the day of her wedding. I thought she was really beautiful. She looked really, really pretty. I was so happy for them. But then as I got to know her better and I get to see how she's treating him, her looks are fading and they're fading quickly. So I don't see anymore what he sees. I'm not understanding why he is simping so hard for this woman. Like, I'm just not getting it at all. But anyways, let's move on. So the next time that we see them, they're doing an outdoor obstacle course where, you're climbing trees and walking across planks and wooden bridges and all this other kind of stuff. Very outdoorsy type of activity. And he chose that because he knows that she likes to be very, very active and she likes to be outside. So he chose this with her in mind. So they get through everything. And when they get to the end of it, he actually says that, they're having a conversation about their relationship. And he said that she is a rare gem sparkling in the sun. Alan, stop. She's nothing but a piece of coal. Stop. So then he says that he really does see a future with her. He sees them having kids, having grandkids. He can see a world where they are together forever. And what did she say to that? Instead of her being polite and saying, oh, how sweet of you, Alan. Maybe that's a possibility, Alan. Instead, she's like, well, forever is a long time. Alan, he says that he can definitely see living this life with her. He talks about this is the life that he really wants to live, this life with her. And all she can say is, thanks, Alan. At least she was polite. She was like, oh, thanks, Alan. Alan, how many more? Look, one thing I know, you let somebody embarrass you once, they're going to continue to embarrass you over and over and over again. That first sign of rejection, I don't know why people are like so gluttonous for punishment. They're so gluttonous for being rejected over and over again. Let me go back to Imam and E real quick. On their Imam should have left on their honeymoon when he turned his back on her in that damn bed when she was trying to get a little bit closer to him, and he turned his back on her. She should have left right then and there. But she stayed. And now look where we're at. He's calling her an a-hole. He's disrespecting her every chance he gets. He's leaving her out in the cold. He's doing everything but acting like a man of God, acting like a man with any kind of dignity, acting like a man who is, respectful towards women, respectful towards this woman who's his wife, doing everything but that. And he's breaking up with her. He ended up leaving her instead of it being the other way around because he's an a-hole. Should have left him. But anyways, enough about that. Back to Alan and Madison. Every single time he tries to get closer, every single time he tries to connect with her, she rejects him. Alan, please, you need to leave this woman. You need to leave. Why can't you? Why are you so blinded by the beauty that she used to have on the day of their wedding? Why are you so blinded by that? Carla and Juan. For the 1 month anniversary, Juan takes her to his place of business so she can see, his operations and what he does and blah, blah, blah. This is the point where she decides at his place of business where he busts his butt working to make a living. This is where she decides to tell him that she quit her job. Now, she's a hairstylist, right? So she doesn't have to work in a salon to make money. She can still make money outside of the salon. She can be, she work for herself or whatever. So he was like, huh? Why would you do something like that? And she's like, well, they weren't allowing me to be creative or whatever, reason she gave. And so in his confessional, he's like, I understand her being crazy. I don't get her being stupid because, this guy, Juan is type A to the max. Juan is the kind of guy, he's self-motivated. He's a go-getter, very energetic, and he's constantly running to the back, running to the back. He does not want to be with a woman that wants to, take the time to smell the roses. Juan wants to chop those roses off and go sell them somewhere. She just wants to enjoy the beauty and the scent and the aroma of the beautiful roses. He's like, well, we can sell those roses. That's how Juan's mind operates. Carla is very laid back, very chill, very hippie, very zen. And she wants to enjoy life. She wants to take everything, slowly and savor every taste, savor every bite. She just really wants to enjoy life. And I think that's the main reason why Juan does not find her attractive. Juan is so into being with a woman who can match his energy that he doesn't find any attraction towards her. And it's got nothing to do with her looks. It's got everything to do with her personality. So he's asking her, okay, you quit your job. So what now? Okay, what now? And she's like, well, I'm just going to listen to the universe. I was like, girl, that is the wrong answer to give to this kind of man, to a man like Juan. No, 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 no. No, no, no. You need to give him at least your 6-month business plan on exactly what you're going to do to make money. He wants to know all the details of what is your next step. What is your next step in securing an income? What are you going to be doing to make money? The next time that we see them, they're at their picnic. They're looking through their wedding albums. They're talking about their near future. And he wants to know, like, so what's happening now? You quit your job. What's next? And so she says that she's got a job coming up in New York. There's going to be a photo shoot, and she has been hired as the hairstylist for this photo shoot. So he wants to know, okay, how do you know that this has been confirmed? How was it confirmed? Was it confirmed by email, by phone, by text, by smoke signal? Like, what's really going on? When are you supposed to arrive there? What are you going to be doing exactly? How are they going to be paying you? Zelle, Cash App, paycheck? Do you need a W-2? Like, he really wants to know the details to make sure that you're going to go there and make money and you're not going to flake out or do it for free, or there's going to be some misunderstanding or miscommunication that you didn't see coming and then they don't pay you. You need to go make money. Are you sure you're going to be coming back from New York with a paycheck? That's what he wants to know. And I'm surprised that she hasn't mollywopped him already. For him asking all those damn questions. So, like I said before, he is attracted to very ambitious, motivated women who are going 100 miles an hour towards the bag. He doesn't want somebody chilling and being all zen. He doesn't want somebody like, oh, I'm just going to think about it, Juan, for about 6 months and with what I want to do with my life. No, he doesn't. He needs you to get up at the crack of dawn with him, go run 10 miles, grab a coffee, and go to work. She said she was going to study tarot card reading. And I was like, oh my God, girl, you know how to piss this man off. You know how to piss this man off. Moving on to Michelle and David, celebrating their 1 month anniversary at a sushi restaurant. So they're at the restaurant, and she says to him, she was already like pissed off. She's just like a cashier. She shows up on the scene already aggravated. And she's like, well, is this what you're wearing? And he's like, and he had on like a nice sweater. He looked really nice. But the thing is, he was wearing jeans and sneakers. And she wanted him to wear a blazer, slacks, and some, whatever. Some nice dress shoes. She's like, oh, is this what you're wearing for your 1 month anniversary? This is what you're wearing for our big day? They talk about how he's not able to make her happy. Like, I'm trying to make you happy. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. And she says, let me cut you off right here. I don't need you to make me happy. She says, one thing I've learned is that I can only make myself happy. No one else can make me happy. And so then he says to her, okay, well, what kind of things make you happy? And they go back and forth. The dinner is not going well at all. And she talks about how there is no connection, and so she doesn't think she's going to be able to move forward. He asked her if there will ever be a connection, and she goes, well, for the record, I am trying. Okay, they must have edited those scenes out as well, because I have not seen her actually really trying. And everything that Dr. Pia had told her, everything that Dr. Pia had showed her, how she had asked for a man just like this, all of that went out the window because she's no longer trying. And I wish that he would reassure her that he was really trying to get a place of his own instead of just saying it. I wish that he would like show her like, hey, because I really do feel like if it wasn't for him living in his parents' basement, there would be more of a chance. I'm not saying that she would have been head over heels in love with him and been super attracted to him. I think that she would not have been as bitter and sour as she is right now to him, as rude as she is to him. But I think that whole thing of him living in his parents' basement turned her all the way off, not to zero, but like to negative 50. If he was had his own place, she'd be at zero. She'd be starting off at zero with him. But instead, she's like 50 steps behind now as far as trying to make it work with him because she can't get out of her head that this man lives with his parents. And if he would be like, hey, I'm telling you, girl, it is temporary. I am talking to her. He doesn't have to prove anything to anybody. But yet, if he would have been like, hey, I'm talking to real estate agents. I got some showings coming up, some what do they call it? Open houses that I'm going to go be checking out after all this is done with, or I've been talking to some leasing agents or, some leasing offices or something to let her know, girl, this is just temporary. I need you to relax and chill out and not be so stressed out about it. I am going to get my own place eventually. Chill. But instead, he's just kind of like, well, yeah, I'm living with my parents and uh, I love them. I don't want to leave them because I love my parents so much and I never want to leave them. And this is not reassuring her at all. But then again, he doesn't have to prove anything to her. But anyways, let's move on. So they come back to the apartment and then they go through their 1 month anniversary basket and there was a video of their wedding. So they're sitting back watching their wedding. And I was like, I was shocked when I was watching them play back the wedding because I was like, wow, I forgot that Michelle was actually likable at one point. She was fun and bubbly, and she was actually laughing and smiling. It's like I didn't even recognize her because ever since that day when she found out that he lived with his parents, that Michelle, that happy, giggly, was gone, dead, buried. Okay, you can only see her at the cemetery, gone. So they're watching their wedding. It looks like David is getting emotional. Truth be told, I didn't see any tears, but he was acting like he was wiping away tears. Maybe he really was crying, thinking about, wow, I could have had that girl. That girl who stood with me at the altar, who was happy and smiling and beautiful. That could have been my wife. But instead I got stuck with the Grinch over here. When they show them kiss at the altar, I was thinking to myself, wow, who would have thought that that would have been the first and last kiss between these two people? That first kiss at the altar was going to be the one and only kiss shared between the two of them. Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. Camille and Thomas. Once again, they get a gold star from me this week. They did wonderfully. For their 1 month anniversary, they go play basketball. He was late. She was kind of upset that he was late showing up at the court because she was like, my time is important and blah, blah, blah. Why were you late? And so she kind of gave him a punishment. He had to do a suicide laps or something. I don't know. And so after that, they go whiskey tasting. And Camille says that this is the most healthy relationship that she's ever been in. They talk about their 5-year goals, their 5-year plan, and which is beautiful. And then they exchange gifts, which is something that I don't think anybody else did. David did give Michelle flowers. He did give her flowers, really beautiful flowers, but I don't think anybody else exchanged gifts. So Camille and Thomas exchanged gifts. She bought some type of like a this molding thing where you can stick your hand in it, and she wants them to stick their hands in the mold with them holding their hands with their wedding rings, and it's going to create this beautiful mold of their hands. And he got her this really pretty necklace because I think red is her favorite color or something, so like red jewels or beads on it or something, and it really was pretty. And so He tells her that that's the reason why I was late to our basketball appointment, because I was running around trying to get this necklace for you. And it was also reminiscent of their honeymoon. I forgot exactly how. And then just the color of it, because she wore red on their honeymoon, and he thought that she looked really good in red. And plus, it's her birthstone. So very thoughtful and meaningful gifts that they gave to one another. And I am rooting for them. Now, for a little bit there, I was really pissed off at Camille. I was ready to toss her aside, but she has really redeemed herself. She's gotten over her whole militant stance and trying to measure his blackness. So she's gotten rid of that ideology, and hopefully those conversations have stopped, and they really are enjoying each other. And I'm really, really, truly enjoying Camille and Thomas. I am rooting for them. I hope they make it, and I hope they both say yes on decision day. But yeah, they get another gold star for me this week. I have no complaints at all about Camille and Thomas. And I think that Camille showed the kind of person that she is, where she showed how much she cared about Imam and what Imam was going through. Thank you so much for joining me. I really, truly do appreciate it. On your way out, please do not forget to rate the video. If you like this content, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.